Okay, so I've got 3 tips for you, and these are some really, really important ones that most people overlook or don't do very well. And it's really about setting up opportunities to listen closely to current, past, and potential clients. So the first one, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, is curate your contact list. So create a simple database if you haven't already, or perhaps you need to review yours. And also have a look through your LinkedIn and see who you're connected to. You might be surprised to find that you've got, even though you've got a really comprehensive database at work, you actually haven't really connected to a lot of those people on LinkedIn. And the reality is that most people are on LinkedIn, even C-suite decision makers they may be the decision makers for you, partner level, leadership level. They are all on LinkedIn, and a lot of those people are actually on there quite regularly, particularly now that we've still got a lot of working from home and we've had a lot of disruption to normal working life, and some people have more time on their hands as well. So make sure you check your database against your LinkedIn and see that you're connected to the right, the people that are going to be useful to you for your goals moving forward now and that are relevant to you. But it always surprises me how it's amazing how once you start to delve into these contacts and have conversations, you find how connected people are. In Perth, for those in Perth particularly, most people say everyone knows everyone. So when you start to explore, particularly whether it's through a conversation or on LinkedIn, and you have a look at someone's profile, you start to get hints about who else they know. Apart from where LinkedIn tells you we've got these connections in common, which you could take with a pinch of salt because it's not necessarily that they know all of those people, you can see from their activity who they're engaging with, who they talk to regularly. You can see what committees they're part of. You can see what events they've been going to or attending online. And you can just start to get a sense of somebody's community. So it sounds a bit stalkerish, but I like to call it research. You can really find out quite a lot about someone, which also aids that first conversation with them as well, because you can show that you've done a bit of research and you might have some things in common, some interests in common, or what they're interested in. But start to see who knows who to help with those introductions. The second part is thinking about your current contacts and maybe some lapsed contacts, people that you haven't spoken to for a while. Think about doing some phone calls to exchange news. I did one last week. In fact, admittedly, this contact who I hadn't spoken to for a while, but I have worked with in the past, he sent me an email with something interesting, and I thought, oh gosh, I haven't spoken to him for ages. I'm just going to call him up. So I phoned him up, and he was so surprised to hear from me, and we chatted for a while and had a really great conversation. And that's so much more memorable and meaningful for both parties than just flicking an email back. So where can you have an easy and natural, open-ended conversation about catching up? What are you working on now? What challenges are you facing? And maybe how can I help? And it's an exchange. It's not a transactional thing. It's not a sales call. It's an exchange. Sometimes helping people is not about selling them something or booking them in for a particular service. Sometimes it's introducing them to someone that you know. It's recommending a particular service provider, or it's a bit of advice from your own experience with the same issue. So it's not always about, what you can do formally for them. The third tip that I'd like to share is with new contacts, so brand new contacts maybe that you haven't met yet, or you've just connected with on LinkedIn, for example, or also, again, lapsed contacts, people you haven't spoken to for a while. Consider setting up either a Zoom video or whatever platform you like to use, a video call or just a phone call, and set it up a bit like a research interview conversation. So that's like the one that I shared about the BCG applicant who was going around and ringing people that he didn't know, influential people at these organisations he might like to work for. So even if that's not you, you're not looking for a job, this is a really great tool, and it's one I've used a lot and in the past has really brought a lot of business my way and a lot of really good opportunities, and has led to other new contacts being introduced to me. So you basically, what you're trying to do is establish a time to have a short conversation with this new contact where you can ask for their perspective or advice on an issue. It may just be something like, I'm interested in working with more people in your industry, and I'd love to get your insights into what's happening for people in your industry right now. So it's not asking them questions to try and get a sale from them. It's purely, can I get some information about this? Can I get your advice on this? And people love to help. And if you're transparent about why you are setting up that conversation, you're much more likely to get that conversation. And just one other thing I'll say that just comes to mind about connecting with people you don't know and setting up conversations. If you've worked on your personal brand and your LinkedIn profile and your online presence is strong, then you're not going to have problems. And I'm talking to the audience that I have here, because we have some quite senior people and also some very experienced people in their field. You're not going to have problems with people wanting to connect and have a conversation with you, because when they look at your profile, they can see that you know your stuff and you're professional.